Hi, I'm Dan, and welcome back to the Rock Nerd Radio Show here on YouTube. I am still doing my picking stuff off my table full of things that have recently arrived type reviews. And I think the next character I want to talk about is this new Astonishing X-Men style Wolverine. Considering Wolverine just had a movie come out, I feel like it is a little topical. So let's take a look at this Wolverine.
Come geek out with us on the Rock Nerd Radio Show.
So here is the new Astonishing X-Men Marvel 80th Anniversary Edition Wolverine, and just to say it, this figure will cost you $25, and I'm actually kind of happy about that, because sometimes when Marvel does these, special edition summertime release figures, they tend to be a little higher in price, and this one is $25. It's not $30, it's just your base price figure, so I was very, very happy to see that. I got mine on Hasbro Pulse. I believe he is sold out on there. I'm sure a second run is coming, but I'm sure other retailers or e-tailers have him in stock. I know people have been finding him in stores. So just to go over the paint and overall appearance of the figure, this is loosely based on the John Cassaday art for Wolverine during the Astonishing X-Men run in the mid-2000s. And you can see with the cowl, it is not as, flailed out and as large as normal. I'm just putting my hand here so you can kind of see how that cowl goes. It is closer to the head, it is a little more subdued, but the face is nice and angry as you might expect Wolverine to be. This was kind of like a reintroduction / reimagination of his tiger stripe costume. So rather than have black stripes, the stripes are yellow, and you can see on mine they are painted nicely, a little bit off center from where the the body seam comes together, but not terrible. I have seen some people posting online that I guess there have been missed paint applications here, so this is coming out blue. Happy to report that mine doesn't have any of that. Bringing up the arms just so you can look at the rest of the body, there is that nice yellow striping on him, and it does look really cool. Of course, there are these very cool seam lines running up and down the costume. So if you really want everything lined up, you just kind of got to twist him and fiddle with him a little bit. But it does look very neat. No real issue on mine. I think everything looks pretty good. The belt is done up in black. Nice red and black X there with the silver, sides of the insignia there. And of course, that seam line again running down the middle of his body and down the middle of the costume. Looking at the arms, I do want to point out that these shoulder pads do move with the arm, and we'll talk about that more when we talk about articulation, but depending on how you're posing him, it might leave a little bit of a gap. You can kind of see here. It's not the worst thing in the world, and I find that you can kind of pose around it. These do move a little bit, so you can kind of move around them. There is hair painted on the arms. This is not, actually, is this sculpted? Now that I'm touching it, it does feel a little more sculpted than just painted. So I do believe that is sculpt. You have the yellow rectangles on the gloves. Claws look really nice. No warping on mine. These feel like new claws to me. They do look very cool on both hands. This one is, I don't know, well, maybe not. I thought it was sticking out a little bit, but maybe it's not. Again, with the triangles and the sculpting, the hair sculpting down the arm. Looks very cool. He is pinless, as you can see as well, which is neat. In terms of the legs, again, seam line continues down the leg. You have let me move the arm out of the way, the blue patch here with, again, the really cool seam line. So a lot of sculpting on this figure. That is the same on both legs. Moving on down, again, the rectangles again on the boots. The very nice sculpted boots as well, because is there a boot cut? There is no boot cut, but this definitely feels sculpted onto the leg. Same with the gloves. I feel like these might be sculpted onto, let me get this on camera, onto the arm, or, placed over the arms as like an overlay. Not 100% sure there, but there's no, looking at the arm to glove, it doesn't look like there's any paint bleed on there. So it does look pretty good. I'm realizing that I'm putting my thumb in the way of everything. But yeah, so it does look pretty good. He does have some accessories to talk about. I'll take a look at them before we really start to go over the articulation. But the first thing he has is a nice Logan head, unmasked Wolverine head. And I think this looks very true to the Cassaday art. The hair Seems to be a little pointier than I do remember in those books, but still looks good. And of course, if you want to swap that, you just pop this off, pop the new one on. There you go, you get a nice snap, and there's an unmasked Wolverine. I normally display my Wolverine with the mask on, but this would almost be a candidate for an unmasked Wolverine. I think this looks quite good. So yeah, it does look really neat. The other accessories that he has is that he has 4 extra hands, and the first set is a set of punching hands, 2 fists, no claws there, which you know, the clawed hands are fists, so these are just ones without the claws. The other options are an open hand for his right hand, and a command point also for his left hand. And I do find it interesting that they gave him like the command pointy hand for his left hand, and just this open splayed hand. And just like everything else Marvel Legends, it is just pop and swap, so you can pop them off and then pop the new hands on. It's neat to see Wolverine coming with a variety of hands. It's something that I feel like we don't normally get. We just kind of get fisted hands with and without claws. So having these more expressive hands on Wolverine really do add something to this figure, I feel. So you can have him point to where the bad guys are if you want. But it does look pretty cool. So with all that said, I'm going to put back his clawed accessories, his clawed hands on, and we are going to be taking a look at his articulation. I'm not some sort of monster who enjoys headless action figures. Just want to point out that the head is this dumbbell joint, so you do have some movement on the dumbbell. You can see it does turn all the way around, but you know, the neck piece does get in the way, so once you get the head on, there we go. You know, you can get some back and forth. It's more up to the ball joint to get this head to be very expressive, but the head can move in all kinds of ways, and I think it does look pretty good. Let's look at the arms next. The arms, first off, these shoulder pads do kind of rotate on their own, so just be aware of that. Like, you can push them forward if you want, and the arm is still straight down. You can also turn them back. But the arms are on a butterfly joint, so you get some nice butterfly joint movement there, and that is the same on both of the arms. They will rotate fully around, and they will go out about that much. There is articulation up there at the shoulder, so again, spin the arm however you see fit. Double jointed elbow, so some decent bend there, and I guess it really depends on which joint you bend first, how deep of a bend you get, but it's there. And then the hands will rotate. The clawed hands, of course, will go left to right, so you can really bring those claws close to him. Just to show, all the other hands as well also have the left to right swivel on there. So, you know, nothing to really go over with all the other hands. Moving down or over to his body, I suppose, there is that inverted dumbbell joint up here at the abs, so at the midsection, so you can get some, you know, swivel on there. You can get some bend. He'll have deeper bend in just a moment. You can also get rotation. I will say the rotation on this joint on mine does feel a little stuck at times, and moving it, like, you can hear that click. Ready? So moving it does kind of freak me out. I mean, it also breaks up the look of the costume, so I'm probably not going to be moving him on there too much. I just hope that inside joint doesn't break. There is also crunch down at the stomach, so you can get some real deep bend there, you know, right down there at like the waist, and you can see how he bends back as well. So a lot of movement there. It is very neat. I like that they are starting to move or do more of that on the figures. I think that is pretty cool. Moving down to the legs, his legs are going to kick out. Can't really kick back, but then out to the side, he can do some pretty major splits. Both of the legs will rotate there at the thigh. Double jointed knee, and you can have him kick his own butt, as some people like to show off. As I said, nothing at the boot cut, at least not that I'm seeing. I can't get this boot to rotate, so bit of a downer there, because it would have been nice to have some rotation at the boot. But otherwise, ankles, they will pivot forward and back, and we do have ankle rockers as well. So because of that, you can get Wolverine into some pretty neat poses. I am not like a master of posing or anything, but I'm just going to try to put him into a kind of more agile-like pose here for a moment. And it's going to be the best I get him into on camera. But still looks really neat, still looks really cool. And once I get him to stand, it would be perfect. There we go. So I really do like this Wolverine. I think it is time for some figure comparison. So just to show this Wolverine off with another Wolverine figure, here is the, this was the Hot Claws version of Wolverine from the Bonebreaker wave. I do have stands on his feet, so he stands a little better. I also have replaced his claws with claws from the Can of Beams site, because I like the metal claws better than those Hot Claws. Very similar costume. Almost, I was a little surprised that they released these two so close together, but this is clearly a little later. The X is a little different, the mask is a little different, the costume is also a little different, the blue is significantly darker. But that is what they look like together. I'll bring them a little closer so you can see them standing next to each other, about the same height. But if you want to see Wolverine next to some characters from that run of Astonishing X-Men, here he is with Emma Frost. And here he is with Cyclops. There we go. Now Cyclops his knees are a little bent, so if I straighten him out, there we go. You can see that Cyclops is indeed a little taller. Let me just get his legs straightened. There we go. Cyclops is a little taller, as he should be, since Wolverine is on the shorter side. In fact, I laughed pretty hard, spoiler alert, when they did have a comic height accurate Wolverine in Wolverine, or Deadpool and Wolverine. I thought that was pretty funny. But yeah, so this is what that character looks like there. We do need a few more characters to fill out our astonishing ranks. We do have a Kitty Pryde who's from a later era. We do need an era-appropriate Kitty Pryde. Definitely need an Astonishing Beast. I had the old one that I have since unfortunately gotten rid of. And we also need a Colossus from that era. And I would take anyone else they want to give us. Abigail Brandt, why not? So this is how this Wolverine figure looks with a couple other era-appropriate X-Men. So overall, I do think this is a pretty solid Wolverine figure. Marvel Legends really has been knocking it out of the park this year with some of these figures. Do I think he's a perfect 10? Not quite, but he's pretty close. I'd definitely give him, I don't know, 8.5, maybe even a 9. He is a really fun figure and, you know, one of my favorite X-Men characters. So even though I'm constantly buying new Wolverine figures, it feels like, I really don't mind picking this one up. I kind of hope that they use this body structure to give us other Wolverine figures. I know they showed off a kind of video game Secret Wars appropriate looking Wolverine in the brown and yellow orange costume. I'm wondering if that is going to be on this body or something else. I guess we'll wait and see. But I think this looks pretty good. So share your thoughts in the comments below. Do you like this Wolverine? Are you planning on picking him up? Are you skipping him? I'd love to know what you think of it. And until next time, I've been Dan. You've all been pretty awesome. I'll see you around. Well, there we go. What did you think of this video? Sound off in the comments below. I would love to hear from you. Remember, we are making a push to get to 700 subscribers here on the channel. If we do that before the HasLab Giant Man arrives, I will be giving away the old Toy Biz Giant Man Build-A-Figure that you've seen on my shelf and things like that. So hit subscribe, leave a comment, hit like if you're so inclined, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in.
Come get